Okay, so here is the Chapter 2 study guide. In this first problem, all you really got to do is just multiply them together. It says which expression because there's going to be multiple choice answers. So we can do the box method here. Just do 2y plus 8 times 5y minus 5. You can do like FOIL, or you could do double distribution, but we've been training on the box method. So 2y times 5y would be 10y squared. Then 2y times negative 5 would be negative 10y. And then that would be 40y. And that would be negative 40. Now hopefully you recognize that those are like terms. And so when we combine all our like terms, we get 10y squared plus 30y minus 40. There we go. So that would be the answer you need to select. All right, find the missing factor b that makes the following equality true. So basically what we need to do here is we need to find the number. If we just look at the coefficients, the number that makes, when it times it by negative 10 would make negative 90. So what number times negative 10 equals negative 90? Well, I think that's 9. And then now let's look at the variables. Now we're saying x squared times what would equal x to the 6? And remember, that's like saying x squared times x to some unknown number equals x to the 6. And what does that really mean? Like, what does x squared and that really mean? It means xx times some unknown number of x's times x times x times x times x times x times x. Well, how many more x's do we need? We would need 4 more x's. Boom. So that must be our answer. All right, so for number 3, the quadratic expression 2k fourth minus 128k squared and 5k squared minus 33k minus 56 all share a common binomial factor. What binomial factor do they share? They share something, so we're going to factor them both, and we're going to find out what is the thing that they both share. So I'll do the 2k4 minus 128k squared in blue, and then I'll do the other one in red. And we'll factor them down, and we'll say, okay, which one do they share? Well, first we're going to start off by taking the greatest common factor. And I think the greatest common factor of the blue one is 2k squared. So when I take 2k squared, I get k squared minus 64. And hopefully you recognize that k squared minus 64, that's one of our patterns. So that's going to turn into k plus 8, k minus 8. Okay, so what binomial factor do they share? Well, right away we should already see we're down to 2 answer choices, because 2 of those are binomials and 1 is not. So it could be k plus 8, it could be k minus 8, but it can't be 2k squared. So let's go ahead and factor the other one now. It's going to be the advanced star method. We're going to do 5 times negative 56. I believe that's negative 280. And then put the negative 33 on bottom, put the 5s underneath the wings here, and we need to find something that multiplies with the negative 280 and adds up to negative 33. Well, it's kind of a big number, so I'm just going to start listing my factors. 1 and 280, 2, 140. 3 doesn't go into it. By the way, I know 3 doesn't go into it because if I add up all these digits, 2 plus 8 is 10, plus 0 is 10, and 10 is not divisible by 3, so 280 can't be divisible by 3. But 4 does go into it, so I could do 4 and 70. 5 goes into it. What's 280 divided by 5? I'm going to a calculator now. Oh yeah, that's right. That's how we got there. 5, 56. If 3 doesn't go into it, 6 can't go into it. But let's try 7. Yeah, 7 will go into it. 7 and 40. And I think we just found our culprit. I think it's 7 and 40. So I'm going to put a 7 here, and I think I'm going to make this a negative 40. That means one of my factors would be 5k plus 7. This reduces to negative 8, so my other factor would be k minus 8. Hopefully you see what I see. They both share a k minus 8, so what binomial factor do they share? It's k minus 8. That's what they share. That's what they have in common. So you got to factor both to get that one. Okay, this one right here, number 4, this is a question that students always get stuck on, and it's actually one of the easiest questions on here. Look, this is saying y squared times 5y minus 8 plus 9, also times 5y minus 8. What is the greatest common factor? It's 5y minus 8. It is. So I could actually factor out a 5y minus 8. I'm literally going to just factor out a 5y minus 8. So there it is, right there. It's factored out. Well, if I do that, look what's left. A y squared and a 9. Well, I can just put those together now, because that's what's left, and write it as done. That's literally it. That is literally all there is to this. You're just saying, hey, if I take the 5y minus 8 out of both of these, I would just have a y squared plus 9 left together, and I could put those in parentheses and put them off to the side. That's it. If you look at the concepts, when they tell you to multiply it, this is like one of the things they tell you to do is like take the first term, multiply by this, take the second term, multiply it by this. So all we've done is just kind of move backwards in one of our steps for multiplying, which is essentially what factoring is. It's just undoing multiplication. Okay, 5. This is kind of like one of the questions I gave you in the notes. Here's what I would do for this one. It says that x minus 4 squared equals this. Well, what does x minus 4 squared equal? Like, you could do the pattern, you could do the box method. Hopefully do the pattern. I'm going to write it right here below. If you do the pattern, you'd get x squared. You'd get 2 times negative 4, which is negative 8 times x, so you get negative 8x. And then the last thing you get is the b term squared. Well, negative 4 times negative 4 is positive 16. All right, literally all you got to do now is just line it up. Look, what's c? Well, it's got to be negative 8. What's d? Well, it's got to be 16. And that's it. C is negative 8. D is 16. Done. Okay, let's take a look at 6. Oh, well, let me say this real quick. If you're not sure how I got that, I used the pattern. But if you're not familiar with this, you could just do box method and you'll get the exact same thing. All right, so number 6, similar kind of problem. We're going to try and fill in some holes here. But we can see what's going on here. We have a coefficient of p times a coefficient of 8 equal a coefficient of negative 48. I'm not even looking at the y's yet. I'll look at those next. So basically what I'm really asking is what times negative 8 would equal negative 48? Well, that's pretty easy. It's just 6. 6. Right? Now let's look at the y's. What I'm saying is y to the 4th times y to the, who knows, the m, the unknown amount, ends up being y to the 10th. Basically, I have 4 y's being multiplied together here, an unknown amount of y's being multiplied together here, and I end up with 10 y's being multiplied together. Well, doesn't that mean I need 6 more y's? So the answer here is 6. Now, it's just a coincidence that these are the same. Don't assume that they're going to be the same. They're not. They're not always going to be the same. They could totally be different numbers. That's just a coincidence. But this is 6 because 6 times negative 8 is negative 48. And this is 6 because 4 plus 6 makes 10 because I have 4 y's here, 6 y's here to make a total of 10 y's being multiplied together. Okay, one more question here. It kind of prints a little bit weird, but they have the same information here. They're telling us the rectangle below has an area of this. The plus doesn't really matter. It's just like saying plus a negative, which is what we write here in the box. So just know it's like saying y squared minus 8y minus 20. Those mean the same thing. That's the area of this rectangle. Then we have a length over here, y plus 2, and we want a width. Well, remember, length times width equals area. So really, these are factors. These are factors of the area. So if I factor this, and I find the two factors, I bet one of them will be y plus 2, and the other one will be our width. Well, that's easy enough, because I could just do that in the star method. In fact, it's the easy star method. I'm just going to put a negative 20 here and a negative 8 here. So I need something that multiplies up to negative 20 and adds up to negative 8. Again, if you don't know the numbers, that's okay. How about you just start listing your factors? 1 and 20, 2 and 10. 3 doesn't go into it, but 4 and 5. That's it. Those are all of them. I think it's going to be 2 and 10. I think you're going to have to make a 2 and a negative 10. And sure enough, 2 times negative 10 does equal negative 20, and 2 minus 10 equals negative 8. And look, like I said before, one of the factors would be 2. The other one is 10. So when I go to write my answer, my width must be y minus 10. Boom. That's the actual answer. Now, remember, they're not asking for both factors. They're just asking for the width. That's all they want. And the way that students get this wrong often is they answer a question I'm not asking. The question I'm asking is for the width, so only give me the width. If you try to give me the length and the width, it's going to be wrong. Okay, so that's a quick rundown of the 7 questions I put in your study guide. I think they're the 7 most challenging questions on this quiz tomorrow. So good luck.